The photo of my face was laminated like a cheap restaurant menu that had seen too many spills. My driver's license picture, blown up to an 8A10 monstrosity, was taped to the wrought iron gate of the Riverbend Country Club. Underneath it, in thick red letters, were 4 words: "Do not admit." I stared at my own eyes, wide and startled by the DMV flash, now guarding the entrance to my only son's wedding. "Ma'am, I'm sorry," the young security guard, barely older than my son, stammered. He couldn't meet my gaze. "I have strict instructions. Mrs. Wallace is not to be admitted." "Mrs. Wallace? That's me, Evelyn Wallace. I'm the groom's mother." "Yes, ma'am, I know. That's why the photo is here, from Mrs. Chamberlain. The bride." He pointed at the laminated sheet as if I might have missed it. "She provided it herself this morning, made sure it was weatherproofed." Weatherproofed. Bianca Chamberlain had actually spent money at a copy shop to ensure my humiliation could withstand a light drizzle. I felt the eyes of the other guests, pulling up in their shiny sedans and cocktail dresses. They averted their gaze, pretending not to see the old woman arguing with security, pretending not to see the grotesque photo that labeled me a pariah. "I see," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "Strict instructions, you said." "Yes, ma'am." "Thank you." I pulled my phone from my purse. The click of the camera shutter was loud in the sudden silence. I took one clear, high-resolution photo of the sign, my face, and the words beneath it. "You're just doing your job, young man. If you're watching this video, tell me where you're from or what time it is for you." This wasn't a sudden attack. It was the final move in a 2-year campaign of systematic erasure. This story didn't start today, at this gate. It started the day Bianca Chamberlain, with her pristine blonde highlights and her surgically attached smile, decided my son was her next project. I'm Evelyn Wallace. At 67, I thought I'd seen every flavor of family drama. I raised Mitchell on my own after his father decided a 25-year-old paralegal was a better life plan than his wife and child. I worked double shifts at the hospital for 2 decades to put that boy through college. He was my rock, the one who called every Sunday, the one who never forgot Mother's Day, the one who always took my side, until Bianca. The first sign was Christmas. Our tradition for his entire life was Christmas Eve at my house. Suddenly, Bianca's family had a non-negotiable gathering in the city. Then Easter became a couple's retreat to Napa. Mother's Day? We're just so swamped planning our future, Evelyn. You understand. Each excuse was delivered in Mitchell's new, hesitant voice, a voice I didn't recognize. Each cancellation chipped away at a foundation I thought was granite, revealing it to be nothing but sandstone. I learned my son was engaged on social media. I was scrolling through pictures of my neighbor's new kitten when it appeared. A professional photo of Mitchell on one knee, Bianca's hand held aloft, a diamond the size of a small bird's egg flashing in the sunset. The caption read, "She said yes, the next chapter with my perfect partner." My phone felt heavy, cold. I called him, my fingers trembling. "Congratulations, sweetheart. I'm so happy for you. When's the big day?" A pause. I heard a muffled whisper in the background. Bianca's sharp, clear tone. "Oh, hi, Mom," he said, his voice strained. "September 14th. We're keeping it small, just very close family and friends, you know." Close family. The words hung in the air. Apparently, the woman who had given birth to him, paid for his degree, and taught him how to tie his shoes no longer qualified. "I'd love to help with the planning," I offered, a last desperate attempt to be included. "That's okay, Mom. Bianca's got it. She's very particular about her vision." Her vision, not their vision, hers. The invitation arrived 3 weeks before the event, wedged between a utility bill and a catalog for orthopedic shoes. It wasn't hand-delivered with excited hugs. It was addressed in Bianca's perfect soulless calligraphy, "Mrs. Evelyn Wallace and guest," as if I were a distant aunt, a business obligation, as if she couldn't even be bothered to learn I didn't have a guest. Back at the gate, the guard was shifting on his feet, his face bright red. "Ma'am, please, there are other guests arriving." "Of course." I put my phone away, my hand no longer shaking from hurt. It was shaking with a cold, pure fury I hadn't felt in 30 years. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a glitch. This was a message. My phone buzzed in my hand, a text from Mitchell. "Mom, heard there was some confusion at the gate. Bianca says the security company made a mistake with the guest list. A total glitch. So sorry. Can you come back? The guard has the updated list now." A glitch. A mistake. The kind of mistake that requires a high-resolution photo, lamination, and red ink. He was lying. He was lying for her, right now, on his wedding day. This was damage control. Someone must have seen the sign, someone important, and asked a question. I typed back a single sentence. "Already left. Have a wonderful wedding." His reply was immediate. "Please come back. It's important to me that you're here." Important. The word was meaningless now. I turned my back on the club, on the life I had built, and on the son I no longer recognized. I was walking back to my car, the gravel crunching under my heels, when my phone buzzed again. A new number, an unknown sender. I slid into the driver's seat, my mind a blank wall of static. The buzzing from my phone was an irritation until I read the preview. Unknown number. I saw what she did at the gate. I know what Bianca is. She did it to me too. We need to talk. A friend. A cold shock, sharper than the humiliation, ran straight up my spine. She did it to me too. What did she do? Who was this? I stared at the message, the cursor blinking. Was this some kind of sick joke? A guest who saw the sign and felt pity? Before I could reply, my phone lit up with another call. Not the unknown number. This was Theo Wallace, my brother-in-law, my late husband Robert's older brother, the family bulldog. I hadn't spoken to Theodore Theo Wallace in nearly a year, not since the anniversary of Robert's passing. We weren't close, but we were family. More importantly, Theo was a shark, a high-priced downtown Philadelphia attorney who specialized in the kind of messy, high-asset family law that made headlines. I answered on the second ring. "Theo, it's Evelyn." "Evelyn, what a surprise. Is everything all right?" His voice was as crisp as a new $100 bill. "No, nothing is all right." I told him everything. The 2-year freeze-out, the social media engagement, the Ann guest invitation, and finally the laminated 8x10 photo of my face at the country club gate. There was a long silence on the other end. Not a shocked silence, but a thinking one, a calculating one. "Evelyn," he said finally, his voice shifting from family to attorney, "this level of calculated public humiliation, it's not just cruelty, it's a strategy. She's documenting your exclusion." "What do you mean, documenting?" When someone goes to this much trouble to keep a parent away, they're often laying groundwork, proving a pattern of estrangement. It suggests they're hiding something or planning something. Planning what? Financial, personal, both. "Tell me about this Bianca. What's her maiden name?" "Chamberlain. Bianca Chamberlain. I don't know much else, Theo. She works in marketing, I think. She's from money." "Stay by your phone, Evelyn. Don't go home. Go to a public place, a coffee shop, and don't talk to Mitchell. Don't answer his texts. I'm going to make some calls, the kind that find answers." The line went dead. Just as I was putting the phone down, it buzzed again. The unknown number. This time, it wasn't a text. It was a call. My thumb hovered over the decline button. Theo had just told me not to talk to anyone. But the text. She did it to me, too. I answered. "Hello? Is this Evelyn Wallace?" The voice was male, strained, and breathless. He sounded terrified. "Who is this?" "My name is Daniel. Daniel Cho. You don't know me. Please, are you safe? Are you away from the club?" "I'm in my car. I'm leaving now. How do you know my name?" "I was there. I saw it. The sign. It's her signature. She's getting arrogant." He was talking too fast. Listen to me. You are in incredible danger. Bianca Chamberlain, that's not her real name. She's not who she says she is. What are you talking about? I pulled onto the main road, my heart hammering against my ribs. She's a black widow. She ruins people. She tried to kill me. Kill you? You need to go to the police, not call me. The police! They think I'm dead. She staged my death 5 years ago, a boating accident. I've been tracking her ever in. She's a ghost. She changes her name, her story, her whole life. And now she has your son. I gripped the steering wheel. This was insane. This man was insane. How did you find me? I've been watching her for years, waiting. When I saw she was getting married again, I started watching your son. And then I started watching you. I saw her marginalize you. I saw the isolation. It's her pattern. The gate. Today. That's the last step before she takes control. Control of what? Everything. His assets. And yours. I have to go. No, wait, meet me, please. I can prove it. He named a public diner off the highway, 20 minutes away. I'll be in a booth in the back. I have documents. Please, Evelyn, she's going to hurt you. Then she's going to hurt him. He hung up. I sat at a red light, my mind reeling. A black widow? A staged death? It was the stuff of daytime television. It couldn't be real. But the laminated photo at the gate wasn't real either, until it was. I didn't go to the diner, not yet. I trusted Theo, but I kept the address. I went to a Starbucks 2 towns over, ordered a black coffee I didn't touch, and sat in a corner watching the door. Every car that parked, every person who walked in, made my skin crawl. Was it Daniel Cho? Was it someone Bianca had sent? Theo had told me to stay put. An hour later, he called back. His voice was different. All professional crispness was gone. He sounded grim. Evelyn, I need you to come to my office. Right now. Theo, what did you find? You need to tell me. I got a call. Not over the phone, not a word. Get in your car, lock your doors, and drive straight to my office in Philadelphia. Park in the attached garage, not on the street. Take the private elevator to the 30th floor. My assistant will be waiting for you. Do you understand? Yes, but... And Evelyn, tell me what you were about to say. You got a call. From who? I hesitated. A man named Daniel Cho. He said Bianca is a black widow. He said she staged his death. The silence on the line was so absolute I thought the call had dropped. Theo, get here, now. The 2-hour drive to Philadelphia was a blur. I locked the doors. I watched my rearview mirror. Every gray sedan, every white SUV looked like a threat. My mind kept replaying Daniel Cho's frantic voice. She tried to kill me. And Theo's grim command, get here, now. I parked in the echoing concrete garage, my heels clicking loudly in the emptiness. Theo's assistant, a severe-looking woman named Maria, met me at the elevator and led me through a silent, mahogany-paneled hallway. Theo was standing by his floor-to-ceiling window, staring down at the city. He looked older than I remembered. The family resemblance to my late husband suddenly, painfully, sharp. He turned as I walked in, and his face was a mask of cold fury. "Sit down, Evelyn." He didn't sit. He tossed a thick manila folder onto the gleaming expanse of his desk. It slid across the wood and stopped in front of my chair. "Bianca Chamberlain," he began, "isn't Bianca Chamberlain. Not legally. Not 3 years ago. 3 years ago, she was Bianca Mitchell. Before that, Bianca Rodriguez. And before that, Bianca Chen." He tapped the folder. "She's been married 3 times before your son, all to wealthy men. All 3 marriages ended, 2 in quiet, massive divorce settlements. One in a tragic boating accident 6 months after the wedding." "Oh my God," I whispered, my hand flying to my mouth. "Daniel Cho." He said, "Chen, Bianca Chen." "His name was David Chen," Theo corrected, his voice flat. "He's legally deceased. His body was never recovered. She collected on a $4 million life insurance policy. Daniel. He said his name was Daniel. A brother? A relative? I don't know any Daniel Cho, but I know David Chen is supposed to be dead. And his widow is now married to your son. I felt the room tilt. But Mitchell, he doesn't have that kind of money. He's an accountant, middle management. I paid for his college, Theo. His car is a lease. He doesn't, Theo said, leaning his knuckles on the desk. But you do. Or, more accurately, you will. Robert's life insurance. The policy that paid out $750,000 when he died. The money that will go to Mitchell, your sole heir, when you pass. The words hit me like a physical blow. The air left my lungs. She's targeting me. She's targeting your assets through your son. But it's worse than that, Evelyn. He pulled a single sheet of paper from the folder. It was a printout from a website, a seminar. Grief, Rebuilding, and Your Financial Future, a seminar for young widows and widowers. What is this? This, Theo said, is where they met, 2 years ago, 3 months after Robert died. Bianca attended as Bianca Chamberlain, grieving her late husband, Matthew Chamberlain, the one who died in the boating accident. You mean David Chen? I said, confused. No, that's the part I'm still unraveling. There was another one, Matthew Chamberlain. She was using his name when she met your son, but the real problem, Evelyn, is how Mitchell attended. He slid the paper closer. I read the attendee prerequisite. For those who have lost a spouse or life partner. Mitchell wasn't a widower, I whispered. No, he wasn't. He attended claiming his wife of 5 years had just died in a car accident. He lied his way in, Evelyn. He met Bianca there under a shared false pretense of spousal loss. This wasn't a chance meeting. This was a setup. And your son was either a victim of a brilliant con or he was a willing participant from day one. I thought of the changes in him, the new expensive clothes, the sudden interest in my finances, my retirement plans, my own insurance. Are you taking care of yourself, Mom? Getting regular checkups? I thought it was concern. It was reconnaissance. The drive home was a fog of betrayal. My son, my sweet boy. He had lied, plotted, and conspired with this monster. He had allowed her to ban me from his wedding. He was in on it. The laminated photo wasn't an insult. It was a declaration of victory. They thought they had already won. My phone buzzed. It was Mitchell. I stared at it, my hand shaking. Theo's voice echoed in my head. Don't talk to him. I let it go to voicemail. A text appeared immediately. Mom, I know you're upset. Today was a mess. Bianca feels terrible. She wants to make it right. Can you please come over for dinner tomorrow night? Just us. A proper family dinner. To clear the air. My fingers moved before I could think. A cold, clear purpose was settling over me. I wasn't just a victim anymore. I was bait. I typed, That's sweet of you, sweetheart, but I'm tired. It's been a long day. His reply was instant. Please, Mom, it's important to both of us. We feel awful. We want to explain. I decided to test Theo's theory. I decided to see just how deep the rot went. I've been doing a lot of thinking today, Mitchell, about your father, about his life insurance policy, that $750,000. I've been thinking it's time to update my will, maybe set up a trust. Bianca seems so smart about finances. Maybe she and I could talk about it. The pause on the other end was so long I thought he'd dropped his phone. Then the 3 little dots appeared. That's a great idea, Mom. A really good idea. We should absolutely talk about that. Tomorrow night. Please, 7 p.m. I'll make your favorite. He didn't even know my favorite. I pulled into my dark driveway and sat in the car for a long time. The house I had lived in for 30 years, the house I had raised my son in, suddenly felt alien, unsafe. I called Theo. They want me to come to dinner tomorrow, I said, my voice flat, dead. At their house. I mentioned the insurance money. He took the bait. Evelyn, absolutely not. You are not to go anywhere near that house. We take this to the police. With what, Theo? A theory? A public records search? And a seminar website? They'll say I'm a bitter mother-in-law. They'll laugh us out of the building. She'll be alerted and she'll disappear. And she'll take my son with her. He's not your son right now, Evelyn. He's her accomplice. He's still my son, I whispered. And I'm going. Then I'm going with you. No, they'll never talk. They'll just smile and lie. I need evidence. I need them to say it. There was a heavy sigh on the other end. Evelyn, I didn't want to tell you this. I hoped I was wrong. I was running a final check on my way out. I ran your social security number. And Bianca Chamberlain, your new daughter-in-law, took out a life insurance policy on you 3 months ago. A $2 million policy, with Mitchell as the primary beneficiary and herself as the contingent. The phone slipped from my hand. It clattered onto the passenger side floor mat. $2 million. 3 months ago, before the wedding, before the invitation. They weren't just planning to isolate me. They weren't just planning to steal from me. They were planning to kill me. I didn't sleep. I sat in my kitchen, the lights on, staring at the phone. My son was planning my murder. How do you process that? You don't. You just sit. At 4:15 a.m., the phone buzzed. The unknown number. Daniel Cho. Are you still alive? My fingers were stiff. Yes, I know everything. Not everything. I've been watching the house. She's moving. She knows something is wrong. After the wedding, she didn't go with him. She went to a storage unit. My heart kicked. What storage unit? Ever Safe Storage on Route 17, Unit 214. I saw her go in. She was carrying a duffel bag. It's where she keeps her kit, Evelyn. Her poisons, her fake IDs, her cash. It's the proof you need. You have to get there. Was this real? Or was this another layer of the nightmare? This man, this frantic ghost, was he an ally? Or was he a different kind of predator? I'm meeting my brother-in-law. He's an attorney. I'll tell him. No lawyers, no cops. She'll hear about it. She has alerts, scanners. She'll bolt. You have to go. You have to see it for yourself before she clears it out. Please. It's the only way. He sent the address. It was 20 minutes from my house. At 7 a.m., I called Theo. My voice was sandpaper. I'm going to the dinner tonight, Theo, and I'm going to get a confession. Evelyn, this is suicide. No, this is a sting operation. I need a wire. I need a team. I need you to find the best private security you can, and I need them today. I know someone, he said, his voice heavy with resignation. Former FBI. Does private security now. His name is Julian. He's discreet. He's the best. But Evelyn, if you do this, tell him to meet me at your office at noon. And Theo, I have a lead. A storage unit. I told him about Daniel Cho. I told him about Unit 214. The silence on the other end was deafening. Evelyn, this man is a wild card. He's obsessive. He's unstable. This could be a trap. Or it could be the evidence we need to stop them before. I have to walk into that house tonight. Tell your man Julian to be ready for anything. Julian was nothing like I expected. He wasn't a hulking bodyguard. He was quiet in his 50s, with watchful, intelligent eyes and an air of absolute calm. He met me and Theo in a sterile conference room. Mrs. Wallace, he said, his voice soft, this is a pearl pendant. The pearl itself is a high-fidelity microphone. The battery is in the clasp. It's voice-activated and has an 8-hour life. This purse has a panic button in the lining. Press it twice and my team will move. But that is a last resort. Do you understand? I nodded, my throat dry as he fastened it around my neck. It felt heavy as an anchor. Now, about this storage unit, Julian said, turning to a map on his tablet. My team has been in place for an hour. No activity. No sign of your friend. Daniel Cho, or your son, or Bianca. So we go in? I asked. No, we wait. You and I will be in a surveillance van 1 block over. We watch. If she shows up, we get her on camera accessing the unit. That's proof. If she doesn't, we go in, quietly. For 3 hours, we sat in a nondescript plumbing van, the air thick with the smell of stale coffee and industrial carpet. We watched the entrance to ever-safe storage. Nothing. Just people moving boxes, a woman unloading furniture, a man arguing with the keypad. This is a waste of time, I finally said, the pearl heavy on my chest. He lied to me. Daniel lied. Or he was wrong, Julian said, his eyes never leaving the monitor. Or he was right, and she's already been and gone. No, I have to go to that dinner tonight. I need to know what's in there. Julian, we have to go in. Julian sighed. He tapped his earpiece. Team Bravo, we're moving in. Quiet entry, Unit 214. I want eyes first. We left the van and walked across the parking lot, the asphalt hot under my shoes. Julian's team, 2 men in plain clothes, had the lock off in seconds. The metal door rolled up with a loud, echoing rumble. Julian put a hand on my arm. Stay here. Let them clear it. One of his men stepped inside, then the other. A moment later, one of them called out, Clear and empty. Almost. Empty. My stomach dropped. It was a lie. A total fabrication by a crazy person. I felt a fool. Wait, the other man said. There's something on the floor. I stepped inside, ignoring Julian's hand. The unit was a small 10 by 10 concrete box. It was completely, spotlessly empty, except for the middle of the floor. Lying there, screen up, was a black burner phone, a cheap, disposable phone. As I stared at it, it lit up. It vibrated against the concrete. It was ringing. Julian motioned for me to stay back. He nudged the phone with his foot. It kept ringing. It's for me, I said. I stepped forward, bent down, and picked it up. My hand was perfectly steady. I pressed answer and put it on speaker. Hello? A voice chuckled. A voice I knew. Bianca's. Looking for something, Evelyn. I do hope you'll still make it for dinner. Mitchell is so looking forward to it. The line clicked dead. I stared at the dead phone in my hand. Julian was already sweeping the unit, his face a granite mask. She knew. She knew we were coming. She lured us here. Or your friend Daniel did, Julian said, his voice tight. This was a setup, Mrs. Wallace. She was testing you, to see if you were suspicious, to see if you'd take the bait. And I did, I whispered. She or this Daniel Cho just confirmed you're a threat. They cleared this unit out if there was ever anything in it and left this for you, as a warning. A warning. It wasn't a warning. It was a taunt. It was the laminated photo all over again. I'm smarter than you. I'm 1 step ahead of you. Come and get me. She didn't get this from Daniel, I said, a new terrible certainty hardening in my gut. Daniel is real. He's terrified. She got this from Mitchell. I texted him about the will. I made him suspicious. He told her I was asking questions. He set this trap. Evelyn, Julian said, using my first name for the first time. This changes the game. The dinner tonight. It's not a sting. It's an ambush. You can't go. Oh, yes, I can, I said, my voice coming from a place of cold, dark rage I didn't recognize. I dropped the burner phone, and it clattered on the concrete. She thinks she's smart. She thinks she's won. She just told me she's home, waiting for me. She wants to play. Fine, let's play. I arrived at 7 p.m. on the dot. The house was in one of those new, sterile developments where every lawn was an identical shade of green. It was all white walls, gray furniture, and chrome fixtures. A house with no soul, no pictures, no history. A perfect place for a ghost. Bianca answered the door, her smile blinding. She was wearing a white cashmere dress that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. Evelyn, I'm so glad you came. Come in. Come in. We were both just sick about yesterday's mix-up. "Water under the bridge, dear," I said, forcing a smile. The pearl on my chest felt warm against my skin. "Mitchell's just finishing a call. Can I get you a drink? I made a special cocktail, elderflower and gin, very refreshing." "Just water for now, thank you," I said. "A long day." Her smile faltered for a fraction of a second. Disappointment. She'd expected me to drink it. "Of course. You must be tired after all that stress. I still can't believe that security company. Honestly, the incompetence." Mitchell appeared from the hallway, his phone in his hand, his own false smile plastered on. "Mom, you look great. How are you feeling?" "Oh, you know," I said, letting him kiss my cheek. His skin felt cold. "At my age, every day above ground is a good one." They exchanged a look, a flicker of an expression so fast I would have missed it if I hadn't been looking. A shared, private understanding. "Don't say things like that, Mom," Mitchell said, his voice thick with fake concern. "You're going to live forever." "No, I'm not," I thought, as I followed them to the dining room. "Not if you two have anything to say about it." Dinner was a performance. Bianca had made some complex, expensive-looking fish dish. She asked about my garden, my book club, my volunteer work, all the right questions timed perfectly. Mitchell played the devoted son, refilling my water glass, asking about my health, my sleep. "Evelyn, Mitchell tells me you've been having some trouble sleeping lately," Bianca said, as she served a perfect store-bought lemon tart. I had never mentioned sleeping problems because I didn't have any. "Oh, you know," I said lightly. "Sometimes the mind just races at night." "That's so common," Bianca said, nodding sympathetically. "My grandmother had the same issue. Her doctor prescribed something wonderful, really helped her relax. Just a small dose before bed." Mitchell leaned forward, his face a mask of concern. "Actually, Mom, we were talking, and we think you might benefit from seeing Dr. Prescott. He's Bianca's family doctor. He's a specialist." "A specialist in what?" "In older patients," Bianca said smoothly. "Geriatric care. He's very forward-thinking about medication management for seniors." Medication management. The phrase hung in the air, cold and heavy. "What kind of medications?" "Oh, just things to help with quality of life," she said, waving a dismissive hand. "Sleep aids, maybe something mild for anxiety. And he's a big believer in proactive care, for memory issues, if they develop." Memory issues. They were building their case. They were going to drug me until I was too confused to know my own name. "I don't have memory issues, Bianca." "Not yet," Mitchell said, his voice soft. "But prevention is so important. We worry about you, Mom." "Speaking of worrying," Bianca said, setting her fork down, "we've been thinking about your living situation, too." Here it comes, the end game. "What about my living situation?" "That big house, Evelyn." "All by yourself," she said, her voice dripping with pity. "All those stairs. What if you fell? What if something happened and no one was there to find you?" "I've lived in that house for 30 years, I said, my voice tight. "I know my way around the stairs." "Of course you do," Mitchell cut in, placating. "But maybe it's time to think about something. Easier. Safer. We've actually been looking at some beautiful senior communities. Active living. A nursing home." "Not a nursing home," Bianca laughed, a bright false sound. "An active adult community, independent living, but with support services, just in case." She pulled a stack of glossy brochures from the sideboard and slid them across the table. "We've already toured this one, Riverbend Estates. It's beautiful. And the entrance fee, well, the equity in your house would more than cover it." There it was. Sell my house, liquidate my assets, sign it all over to them. And then, once I was safely tucked away, managed by their doctors and their pills, a fall, a heart problem, an accidental overdose of the medication they had prescribed. I looked at the brochures. I looked at Bianca's eager, smiling face. I looked at my son, his eyes pleading with me to agree. I picked up a brochure. Riverbend Estates. It does look lovely. The wave of relief that washed over their faces was so profound, so absolute, it was sickening. They thought they had me. They thought I was the same gullible, lonely old woman they'd been manipulating for 2 years. I smiled, my sweetest, most grandmotherly smile. This has been such a wonderful evening. Thank you both for your concern. It means so much to know my family is looking out for me. Always, Mom, Mitchell said, his voice thick with emotion that, for the first time, sounded almost real. Relief, perhaps. Always, Bianca echoed, placing her hand on his. I folded my napkin and placed it on the table. I'll think about everything you've said, the doctor, the estates. You've given me so much to consider. The pearl on my chest had captured every word, every lie, every single damning syllable. I left their house at 9:30 p.m. after promises to call Dr. Prescott in the morning. Julian was waiting in his black SUV at the end of my street. I got into the passenger seat and unclipped the pearl necklace. My hands were shaking. "Did you get it?" I asked. He was already plugging the clasp into a laptop. He put in an earpiece, listened, and his face hardened. "My God, Evelyn, they're amateurs. So arrogant." He listened for another minute. "Medication management, suggesting a specific doctor, tying it to memory loss and moving you to a facility. This is a textbook conspiracy to commit elder abuse, fraud, and worse. What now? Now Theo takes this recording to the federal prosecutor he's had on standby. The FBI has apparently been tracking Bianca, or whatever her name is, across 3 states. They just had a pattern, no hard evidence. You just gave it to them, on a silver platter." Theo called me an hour later. He was at his office with Julian and, he said, 2 FBI agents. "Evelyn, they're moving. The recording is the linchpin. They're corroborating it with their existing case file right now." "Their case file? On Bianca?" "Yes. And Evelyn, your friend Daniel Cho? He's real. His name is actually Daniel Cho. David Chen was his older brother, Bianca's first husband, the one she did murder. Daniel has been tracking her ever since, obsessed with getting justice for his brother. He wasn't luring you into a trap at the storage unit. He genuinely thought he'd found her stash. She must have known he was watching her, too. She used him to test you." My stomach turned. The frantic, unstable ally was real. "And Theo," he continued, his voice low, "it gets crazier. Matthew Chamberlain, her second dead husband, the one from the boating accident, he's alive. He's in witness protection. He faked his own death to escape her after he figured out she was slowly poisoning him. He's been their star witness, but they could never get enough to tie her to the other murders. Until now." "They're planning to raid the house, Evelyn, in 48 hours. They're going to arrest them both." "Both of them? Mitchell, too?" "Yes. The recording proves his complicity. He's an active participant in the conspiracy. But they're offering him a deal, a one-time-only offer. He gives them everything. Full cooperation, testifies against Bianca, admits to his role. If he does, he'll do minimal time for conspiracy and fraud. If he doesn't, he goes down with her for life. Conspiracy to commit murder. My son. Prison. My head was spinning. Minimal time. Life. "I need to see him," I said. "Evelyn, no, it's too dangerous. She's a cornered animal." "Not her. Him. I need to see him. Alone. I need to be the one to give him this chance. It's the last one he gets." Theo and the FBI argued. I refused to budge. Finally, they agreed. A coffee shop. Noon the next day. Julian's team would be inside, at tables. Federal agents would be outside. But I would sit at the table with my son. Alone. He arrived looking terrible. Pale, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes. He hadn't slept either. "Mom, thanks for meeting me. About last night." "Stop," I said. He froze, his coffee cup halfway to his mouth. I'm going to ask you a question, Mitchell, and I want you to think very, very carefully before you answer. Do you know who your wife really is? The color drained from his face. What? What do you mean? I mean, do you know about Bianca Chen and Bianca Rodriguez? Do you know about David Chen, her first husband, the one she murdered? He started to stand up, his chair scraping loudly. I have to go. Sit down, I said, my voice like steel. He stared at me, shocked, and slowly sank back into the booth. Do you know about Matthew Chamberlain? Her other dead husband? The one who's alive and in witness protection? His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Do you know about the $2 million life insurance policy she took out on Mies? He slumped as if I'd hit him. How do you know? Does it matter? What matters is that you have a choice to make, right now, today, because the FBI is going to arrest both of you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. He broke. It wasn't dramatic. He just crumbled. He put his face in his hands and began to sob, right there in the coffee shop. You don't understand, he choked out. It's not. I didn't. Then explain it to me. Explain how my son, the boy I raised, could sit at a dinner table and plan my death. He looked up, his face a wreck of tears and snot. She was going to do it anyway. She told me. She said if I didn't help, if I didn't manage you, she would make it. Make it bad. A fire. A fall. Something that would make you suffer. She said if I helped, she'd make it quick. Painless. Just medication. In your sleep. The words were so grotesque, so twisted. He was trying to justify how he was going to murder me. So you chose to help her murder me, to spare me pain? I thought I could protect you. I thought I could stall, find a way to warn you. I didn't know what to do. She showed me what she did to David. She has evidence on me. The lies at the seminar. The insurance forms I signed. She had me trapped. She said if I went to the police, she'd kill me too. He was a victim. But he was also a co-conspirator. He was weak. And she had exploited that weakness until it rotted him from the inside out. The FBI is outside, Mitchell. They are offering you a deal, full cooperation. Testify against her. You'll go to prison, but for a few years, not for life. Prison? He whispered, horrified. Yes, prison. That's the good option. The bad option is you go down with her for 4 murders and 1 attempted murder. Your choice. You have 1 hour. I reached across the table and put my hand on his. His skin was ice cold. She can't hurt you anymore. She can't hurt me. It's over. But you have to choose right now if you want to save yourself or if you're going to protect her. He stared at our joined hands for a long, silent minute. The sounds of the coffee shop, the grinder, the hiss of the milk steamer, the quiet chatter, all seemed to fade away. Finally, he raised his head. His eyes were red, but the tears had stopped. What? What kind of deal? I didn't go home. Julian took me to a hotel. I sat by the window and watched the sun come up. At 6:01 a.m., my phone rang. It was Theo. It's done, he said. They're both in custody. Mitchell, he did it, Evelyn. He unlocked the door for them. He had a bag packed. He gave them everything. Computer passwords, bank accounts, everything. A wave of relief so profound it made me sick washed over me. He had chosen. At the last possible second, my son had finally made the right choice. I watched the morning news. By 8 a.m., it was a local alert. By 10 a.m., it was a national headline. Suburban black widow arrested. FBI says grieving son was accomplice in plot to kill his own mother. My laminated photo from the gate was on every channel, broadcast to the world. But this time, it wasn't a symbol of my humiliation. It was a symbol of her arrogance. It was the mistake that brought her down. the U.S. Attorney's office allowed one supervised visit before Mitchell was transferred. I walked into a sterile, windowless room. He was sitting at a metal table wearing an orange jumpsuit. He looked small and young and terribly broken. He stood up when I walked in, but a guard motioned for him to sit. He just watched me, his eyes brimming. "Mom," he whispered as I sat down opposite him, "I'm so sorry. I am so sorry." "I know you are, sweetheart. I never wanted it to go that far. At first, she was just so smart, so beautiful. She understood me. She said I was carrying too much guilt about Dad, that you used it to control me. The oldest trick in the book, Mitchell. Isolate the target from their support system." "And I believed her," he said, his voice cracking. "I believed her until after we were married, until she showed me the insurance policy. She said it was smart planning. And when I tried to back out, that's when she told me about David and Matthew. She confessed to me, Mom. She laughed about it, and she said if I ever tried to warn you or leave her, she'd kill you and frame me for it. She had proof. She had pictures of me at your house. She'd stolen my key. She had a whole plan to make it look like I did it alone." He was right. He had been trapped by his own greed, his own weakness, and by a master manipulator. "What you did, Mitchell. Calling the FBI, agreeing to testify, that took courage." "No," he said, shaking his head. "You did. You showed me there was a choice. In the coffee shop. Until that second, I thought I was trapped. I thought the only way out was one of us dying. Thank you for saving my life." "You're my son," I said, placing my hand on the cold table. "Of course I forgive you. Will you wait for me? I know 2 years is a long time." "Mitchell, I waited 42 years for you to grow up. I can wait 2 more." The trial was a media circus. They called it the Grief Grifter trial. I testified for 3 days. I told them about the laminated photo. I told them about the dinner. And then the prosecution played the audio. The courtroom was dead silent as they heard Bianca's smooth, charming voice suggest medication management, as they heard my son's concerned tone agree that I needed to be in a safer place, as they heard me playing the part of the grateful, dotty old woman. The jury was spellbound. Mitchell testified for 2 full days. He was calm, precise. He detailed every step of Bianca's psychological warfare, from the lies at the grief seminar to the blackmail and threats. He didn't spare himself. He admitted to his greed, his weakness, his complicity. But the most dramatic moment came from the ghosts. Matthew Chamberlain testified via a secure video link from witness protection, his face blurred, and then Daniel Cho took the stand. He wasn't frantic anymore. He was cold, quiet, and precise as he detailed how Bianca had murdered his brother and the 5 years he had spent hunting her. Bianca watched it all with a look of bored indifference. Only once did her mask slip, when the jury foreman read the verdict, guilty, on all counts. Her eyes found mine across the courtroom. It wasn't rage I saw. It was annoyance, as if I'd been a particularly difficult business transaction. Bianca was given 4 life sentences without the possibility of parole, 1 for each man she'd murdered and 1 for the conspiracy to murder me. 3 weeks later, Mitchell was sentenced. With his full cooperation, the judge gave him the minimum, 2 years in a low-security federal prison. I watched them lead my son away in handcuffs, and for the first time in 2 years, I felt a sense of peace. Justice had been served, and my son, the one I thought I had lost forever, had finally found his way back. The next 2 years were strange. The media attention faded, but my life had changed. I became a reluctant advocate, speaking at community centers and senior living facilities about the warning signs of elder abuse and financial exploitation. I told my story. I showed them the picture of the laminated sign. My relationship with Theo, my brother-in-law, solidified into a true, deep friendship. We had dinner once a week. We were the only two left who truly remembered Robert. We were family, in a way we had never been before. And then there was Julian, the quiet, watchful security expert who had wired me for that terrible dinner. He had called to check on me after the trial. Then he called again a week later. Then we met for coffee. He was kind. He was strong. He had seen me at my most terrified and my most furious, and he wasn't intimidated by either. He had helped me save my own life. And slowly, without my even realizing it, he was helping me build a new one. Mitchell came home on a crisp Tuesday in October. I was waiting at the prison gates. With me were Theo and Julian. He looked different. Older, yes, but leaner. The weakness around his mouth and eyes was gone, replaced by something settled, something solid. He walked out carrying a single cardboard box. He saw me and he dropped it. We hugged for a long time, right there on the sidewalk as two men who loved me stood back and gave us the moment. "Hi, Mom," he whispered. "Hi, sweetheart. Welcome home." The drive home was quiet. Finally, Mitchell spoke from the back seat. "Mom, I need to say something, and I need you to just listen." I glanced at him in the rearview mirror. "Okay, I know you've forgiven me. You've told me in every letter, but I spent 2 years in therapy, Mom, real, hard therapy, and I realized I was manipulating you long before Bianca. I used your guilt. I used your love. I'd borrow money I never intended to pay back. I'd make you feel responsible for my problems. Mitchell, you were my son. I wanted to help. No, let me finish. I used you. Bianca she just saw a pattern that was already there and exploited it. She saw a weak man who was already taking advantage of his mother, and she knew I was the perfect tool." I pulled the car over to the side of the road and turned around to face him. "What are you saying, Mitchell?" "I'm saying I don't want your forgiveness anymore. It's too easy. I want to earn your trust. I want to spend the rest of my life proving that I am not that man anymore. I want to be the son you deserve, not just the son you're stuck with." His honesty was a physical thing, more real than the man who had sat across from me in the coffee shop. "How?" I asked. "I got my real estate license while I was inside. I studied every night. I have a job lined up with a small firm. I want to help people find homes, honestly, ethically. And I want to pay you back, every single dollar, the loans, the investments, all of it, with interest. It'll take me years, but I'm going to do it." I studied his face. The old, evasive Mitchell was gone. This was a man who had looked into the abyss and climbed his way back out. "Okay, sweetheart," I said, and for the first time my tears were for him, not for me. "Okay." That night, we had dinner in my kitchen, not a fancy staged meal, just spaghetti and meatballs that Julian had made. Mitchell and Theo talked about baseball. Julian and I talked about the garden. It was normal. It was a new normal. A family forged not by blood, but by fire, by betrayal and forgiveness and the hard, slow work of rebuilding. We weren't perfect, but we were real. Oaths? 3 months later, Julian and I got married. It was a small ceremony in my backyard under the big oak tree. Mitchell, my son, walked me down the aisle. Theo, my brother-in-law, officiated. As I stood there holding Julian's hand, I looked at Mitchell, who was watching us with a real, unguarded smile. I looked at Theo, who was beaming. Bianca Chamberlain had tried to destroy my family. She tried to steal my money, my house, and my life. But instead, she'd given me a new one. She'd forced me to find a strength I never knew I had. She'd brought a new, better love into my life. And she had, in the most painful way imaginable, given me my son back. Not the weak boy who left, but the strong man who returned. Sometimes, justice isn't just about punishment. Sometimes it's about the beautiful, strong, honest life you build in the ashes of someone else's evil. And that is a victory no one can ever take away. If this story resonated with you, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop any comment below, even just one word. Maybe tell me where you're watching from, or what time it is right now. Sometimes one word is enough to say you were here.